Hi-ho everyone, my name's Mr. Fruit, and welcome back to the GG Over Easy podcast, episode 48. In today's episode, we have special guest Ohmwrecker, who you'll all be hearing from here very soon. We, as always with our guest here, learn a lot about his lore, where he came from, where he started, how he got doing what he is now as a content creator. You know him, you love him, and if you don't, what are you doing? Get on that. We talk about that. We got some Patreon questions. We talk a lot about games in between, stuff that inspired us early on, stuff like Starcraft, RTSs, and then we move forward to current day landscape of YouTube and all this kind of stuff. All in all, if you're a gamer or not, you'll probably enjoy it more if you're a gamer. But if you're not, listen anyway. Thanks. Get into it. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GG Over Easy podcast, episode 48. This time around, special guest, the one, the only, the masked gamer, Ohmwrecker.
The wrecker of homes.
Hey, thank you for joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
So good to have you.
Thank you for
Glad to
joining
finally
us,
do
man.
this. We've had some conflicting times. It's been tough. You're a busy man, understandably. But you've taken time out of your day to talk with us. So,
No, I was
Arigato.
looking forward to this.
Arigato gozaimasu.
arigato.
I'm hyped.
I will say, I'll just, I guess, immediately start off by asking this. I know you're Ohmwrecker, but I know some people, or like you have the moniker the Masked Gamer.
Right.
Where did that come from?
So that honestly, that was a recommended name on YouTube way back when.
Really?
Yeah, dude, I honestly I wasn't even really trying to like come up with something permanent. I remember I wanted to upload a gameplay video and I just needed an account. So I was really just speeding through the process. This is 2006, by the way.
Yeah, that's literally probably not even a full year after it released.
No, I just needed a place to put a gameplay video, and I'm just like, whatever. I don't care what my username is, and that's the origin story, man. Like,
What were you uploading?
Yeah, what are you uploading in
Oh,
2006?
Yeah, with what too? Like a tint? Like what is
Okay.
able?
Okay,
Like the
okay.
little
So I was
hand cam, like-
experimenting. Fraps, believe it or not, Fraps was around at that time, and I was
I
ex-
remember
Fraps.
Fraps.
yeah. So I was
Sucked.
experimenting with recording Fraps, which was like terrible. Like it killed your performance so bad in games at the time. Like you lost like half your frames, and just everything was so bad about recording games at the time. Just hard drives weren't big enough. Like the resolution, I think we were capping at like 640 by 480 or something. It was so bad. But there was a beta test going on for Company of Heroes, and I've always loved RTS games. Obviously, they don't do super well on like YouTube, but at the
Bet
time
they
though,
were
like
popping in 06.
Is that like a wartime game? Like kind
Yeah.
of like World
yeah,
War
it's World War II, like World War II, epic explosions. You know, you got tanks and artillery and like infantry. It was just so cool. And I'm like, dude, this beta's going on. I'm like, I want more people to play this. Like, this is amazing. That like the queue times were taking a little bit, and I'm like, I got to upload a gameplay video. And that was my first video from what I recall. That was it. It was
Is that still
Company
on
of
your
Heroes.
channel?
Yeah,
I
I
gotta
think
watch this
it might be
later now.
unlisted.
Oh, I was gonna say
yeah.
that's good. You can't
That
see
makes
Christians
sense.
nowadays. Christians are
My
are-
OG channel, yeah, I just
You nuked it.
unlisted them all.
Did you save any of those videos though? Like
They're all
any-
unlisted, so I have them. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. They're just you just can't pull them. I
Well,
thought you deleted it, just like ripped
it's-
them all away.
It's not really that I'm like embarrassed or anything about it. I'm going to be honest. For the most part, I'm saving those for a rainy day, and then I can be like, "Hey, reacting to my third ever YouTube video."
Yeah.
I did go back and watch a couple recently. I did like a couple montages. I was like, "Man, I remember these being a lot cooler at the time."
What
these-
was it like? Modern Warfare 2?
It was like Battlefield 3. I think I had a couple.
Really?
The game
I don't
still
ever
holds
think
up,
we
though.
played Battlefield 3 together.
No, I grinded that though.
Dude, my first commentaries were so bad. Like I actually played one live recently. I was going through my channel a little bit, and I found this like Dark Souls one, and it wasn't even me playing Dark Souls live. It was almost like a review of Dark Souls. the things I said were so bad. Like, there's one moment when I'm like, oh yeah, the combat, just one word for that, epic or something like that, and it was just so cheesy and
All
cringy.
right. Yes.
That's
Groundbreaking takes from Ohm at those times.
It was
Wow.
so bad. But I think like that's what I think people need to see that are inspired by YouTubers and streamers that and they might beat themselves up and be like, "Oh, I'm too cringy or whatever. Like I don't, I don't sound like these guys." We all started pretty cringe, I think. Like unless you're just exceptionally
I'm
talented.
still cringe.
I mean,
I don't know about you. I lose subs every day because I post cringe still.
it just, I think all creators kind of had some like humble beginnings of just like learning as they went and getting comfortable with their voice and just saying the things on their mind, right? Not judging themselves so much. So, yeah,
Yeah. Trust me, I
that's
had
important.
plenty. Well, the first channel I had, that's why it's nothing like this channel. It was all because I made that channel back when I was like, man, I want to be like Sheen Anners and Woody's gamer tag and like all Market J. I was like, I'm gonna do COD commentaries as like everyone did at the time.
Right.
And man, I thought I had like great stories and takes, and I listened to them. It's just like, bro, it's
Hey,
like
you did, man.
it belongs right in the like the subreddit. I'm 13 and this is deep. Like it's some yiker stuff.
See, but you
But-
ended up doing COD commentary regardless.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
full circle.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
not
Yeah.
wrong. But I would, but this time it wasn't like, let me Well, used to it was like I would record and then post, be like, here is my thoughts on something no one cares about.
On Ocean's
And-
11.
Yeah, just like or like trying to be like super vague, but like off the cuff. He's so funny. He's so witty. That was never the case. And I remember because with this new channel, the first video I ever did was like loadout. And someone's like, this is like a really good video for like a first time. And I was like, well, I had a whole channel for like 4 years. So that's why like I could see the progression when I first made that video. But now, even then, I look back at that video and I was like,
Yeah.
like I thought that was peak when I made
Is,
that. I was
is
like,
that still technically the first like the video on your channel? If you go like date
Mr.
uploaded, is it a
Fruit, yeah.
loadout? Okay.
mhm.
Wow.
I haven't unlisted any of those.
When
No.
was that? Because loadout still feels somewhat recent to me.
20, I think it was January 2014.
Wow. God,
Does the game
man,
still get
that's-
updates?
Oh, it's dead. It's shut down. Like it's gone.
Wow.
But
And it doesn't beat 2006 though, you know.
ugh. Dude, I remember 2006, like going on YouTube, like Company, Heroes, man, come on, somebody.
Yeah.
So it just started off as like a uploading some. When did it like start being like, oh, maybe I could do this for like something that like a job or something like that?
Oh man. I started doing like Battlefield videos, and then eventually I got into League of Legends, and League of Legends was probably the biggest thing for my channel when I was like still a micro channel. I still wasn't doing even commentary so much, but I was like at the time the big thing, like the thing that really made me stand out was I had like a pretty high end computer and I was making 1080p videos. Like
Whoa,
dude, that was unheard of,
Hey.
right? Like
not even 720. Like,
no, I'm like, and so of course I put it like I'd emphasize like 1080p gameplay showing Karthus or like whichever League of Legends character, and that's when the subs started to come in a bit. I got my first like 2,000 or 3,000 subs from mainly League, but I still no one really knew what was going to become of like YouTube. Like at that time there wasn't really monetization. I remember I had like a million view BioShock video and I didn't make a penny off that damn thing. Like, you know what I
That's
mean?
cra-
Like
the back then too, 1 million views like in early YouTube that's
Well, that's
Crazy.
why everyone
it
was
was nuts.
signing with MCNs back then,
yeah.
like Machinima and stuff, because that was the only way really to make
Make
any
money.
kind of a money
Yeah.
or any kind of money.
Yeah, so I was I was actually in school in college and I was doing some stuff on the side with like writing about games a bit and around that time Total Biscuit was growing and of course I'd seen other commentators and PewDiePie was popping up around that too. He was doing the Amnesia stuff and So I was starting to see these folks, and like I was starting to see companies kind of come around in the YouTube space. And Total Biscuit, I remember, had made some sort of comment about like how he quit his job, and like he was like going to be able to do YouTube as a job. And I was like, wait, what? Like that's crazy. Like
That's
you know,
possible.
yeah, like
Nani.
it was just such a weird time though, because there was still so much confusion as to like how, right? I don't know if you watched like Husky Starcraft, but like around that time they
Yep.
launched the game station, and so I was seeing these things happen. I'm like, this like deep inside of me, I'm like, I'd love to do something like that, like to make videos more seriously. And ultimately, like 2012. I was like the latter half of the year, I actually was chatting with Total Biscuit a little bit, and he gave me some insight as to like, he said, okay, you definitely want to get with an MCN, and get on a consistent schedule. Cause like I was just uploading videos whenever, you know what I mean? Like I didn't, 2, 3 weeks or a month it could go by and I wouldn't even really care. But he gave me some pointers on just like, get an upload schedule, like find the games that like really represent you well. And just work at it, get with an MCN, they'll help you monetize, and that's what I did. I linked up with Polaris, got a really not so great contract at the time.
All of them
They
sucked back then. Yeah.
yeah.
I was gonna say, you
preyed
don't
on
sound everybody at that point, I think, was getting taken
Right.
to the dry cleaner, you know?
So
Yep.
here, we'll take like 90% of the revenue and you get 10, but that's 10 more than you would have had, Like,
Right. Well, that's what that was the reality. YouTube wasn't partnering people like left and right. Like today, you don't really need an MCN anymore, but back then you needed an MCN. So yes, like 10% of a watermelon is better than what 100% of a grape, and it's not even a grape. You have just nothing. Like there's nothing. So yeah, I got partnered up and started making content. Um, Now by no means did I you know, s- start living large or anything. I mean, for first couple years in particular, didn't really make much at all on YouTube, but it was cool though. It was cool to see it, like, the potential there of like, hey, you could potentially call this a job one day. Uh,
Was it just primarily League of Legend uploads at that time?
no, I shifted. So around that time, like I said, I was kind of doing this thing where I was like writing about doing game stuff, and so I was actually with a site that was under IGN. And so they ended up losing their budget. They cut all the staff, and but I'd been dabbling in like other games and even like commentary over games. So I actually really liked the idea of like getting game reviews and impressions up on YouTube. I thought what Total Biscuit was doing was like really, really cool. I don't know if you guys know Northern Lion, but he was also doing similar type of stuff. He would do like let's look at and then fill in the blank. Like, today, like if he was still doing this regularly, he'd be like, let's look at Grounded, and he would do like a
Mhm.
30-minute impression. And it wasn't so much like him just like laughing and screaming about spiders killing him. It was like, this is almost like a mini preview or a game review, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's
that
kind of what I
sounds
went
like,
into.
sorry, that sounds like the one I would equate that to is that I watched at the time would be Total Biscuits, like WTF is, and then the game.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was what I was kind of focused on at that time. Um and you know, following like doing that for I don't know about a year and a half, I started to venture out into some games, and I really started to appreciate just multiplayer gameplay with like friends. So I was playing a lot of Dota 2 with friends, but other games are coming out that were really fun, right? Like Chivalry. Do you remember Chivalry?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that the night game?
Yes.
Mhm.
Or yeah.
Yeah. So Chivalry, Northern Lion, he had this show. He still does on Twitch called the NLSS, and we were linking up all the time. And I was always the guy pushing like, we should do more multiplayer games. And then I was like, we should do a YouTube series. And so I was trying to push for like more this multiplayer gameplay. It wasn't impressions, it wasn't previews or reviews. It was like just us having fun playing games. And uh, so yeah, that at that point, I think that's it, just as a creator, I kind of realized like this is what feels right to me. Like playing games, having fun, and just sharing that experience. So yeah, I mean, not too long after that, I met the RPG Minx. We started doing like some Gmod. I knew like PewDiePie, Cinnamon Toast Ken, Cryotic. There were a bunch of other folks. Markiplier was in our circles, and we'd just play Worms, or we'd um, God, what else? We would play random indie games sometimes, like just yeah, just all about just having fun with friends, and that was kind of like I think the defining shift in my journey, which led me to all the way to present. So.
It sounds like you've been through just about like every kind of video game content there is. You did like this genre, that genre, until you
Yeah.
finally landed on like the one you said, the one that just felt right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, because I was all over the place. I mean, I even think about like I played I was playing sim games even like DCS A10C. Have you ever seen that?
No.
No.
Amazing flight sim. It replicates like the true experience of operating an A10 Warthog, right? Like that aircraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing, like down to every switch. I mastered that game to the degree that I could actually start up the aircrafts and set up the weapon systems, take off, go engage targets. But that is not stuff that typically does super well on YouTube for most
You don't
channels.
say why not. I want.
Oh my god, is he gonna initiate the oh my god, he flicked this one.
And welcome to our flight.
Well, so nowadays, okay, so there is Operator Drewski and there's some others. So like there are some people that have made it a thing, but YouTube wasn't ready for that from like 2012 to like 2018.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now people are carving paths into like genres that weren't previously that popular. But yeah, at that time, I was
YouTube
all
meta
over the
back then
place.
was weird.
Yeah.
YouTube meta was weird.
Well,
Yes.
I think the thing that's changed too is because YouTube's become so big and gaming as a whole. Because I mean, like circa 2010, 2011, there was things, but gaming was like COD commentaries.
Right.
So there wasn't a lot of places for all this. But as it got more popular, people realized and started doing more content. Like, oh, I can come and do this. I think people found their niche markets more and more, and some of those niche are becoming more popular.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that's like at this point, there's so many creators. Odds are you like something, look it up. There's somebody doing it.
Yes. Yeah. That's something I appreciate about YouTube nowadays is if I think of like some old game, I remember there was this RTS called like Battle for Middle Earth 2, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if anyone's ever done it. And I actually found that like there's a channel that still posts that game, even though it's like, God, how old is it now?
Consistently.
Yeah, well, I mean
Wow.
that's super consistent, but it's
Daily
enough
up.
that I'm like, holy, like there's somebody posting this game. Like,
Daily uploads.
You gotta respect it.
yeah. I appreciate it because, like, anytime you like have that little nostalgia feeling, like, oh man, I wish I could like see this game or play it again. It's cool to see that like there's people that are like capturing gameplay like everything these days. So, but yeah, it's awesome to see YouTube kind of grow.
Well, that's what
this way.
and with YouTube meta, I think it's shifted from like gameplay and it's more so like cuts and edits
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff now and trying to get, because back then you could just literally upload a 15-minute COD clip and then like Christian said, just talk behind it. And
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
most
but
people.
To a degree, like there's still flexibility in some cases, right? I feel like there's certainly like we've gone through a lot of filtering, right? So people don't want like stuff that's not entertaining so much. I'll be honest, there was a time period where I mean you could just upload I remember like Gmod, some of the Gmod circles, people would literally they'd record and they'd post everything. And it wasn't like always super concentrated entertainment, but that's kind of what YouTube was at the time. Like you were saying, but in some ways though, we've certainly seen editing stay strong, I'd say over all these years. But I think that as long as you're also posting things that are still entertaining, like you're being a filter in that you're just making sure like the really dead stuff, like anything in between rounds or like bad rounds, like they don't make the cut. You could still get by with like showing a lot of gameplay. Like I do that a lot with Dead by Daylight, where I filter out a lot of the rounds that are garbage, but I still leave a lot of the experience intact. You know what I mean? Versus if you compare my content to like Noob3 or Monto, some of these other DVD entertainers, like they do a lot of cuts, a lot of funny moments. Like they put stuff on screen, text, or like whatever else, or memes, and you don't necessarily have to do that. You don't have to be highly edited to that degree. I don't think.
Well,
I gotta give you a lot of. Oh, go ahead.
I just think that's part of the whole meta of YouTube right now is like somebody might go to your channel for DBD because that's what they're looking for, and another one might stumble upon it and be like, I'm looking for something a little more snappy, a little funnier, and then that's where they could go to a different channel. But I think it's at this point too that there's so many people, especially if you find a game that's as popular as like DBD, you get people where you can serve them with different content because not everyone's going to like the same thing.
Right.
Which is what I found out when I started doing Destiny. I was the only one doing this PvP funny moments. There was nobody else in the game. All the channels were like really informative guides and just how-tos and walkthroughs. And so I just served a different audience. And I think that's the thing is like it also can be tough because some people might be like, oh, I need to make my content like this person's. But like for you, let's say maybe you did that. A lot of your core audience would be like, whoa, like if we wanted that, we just go watch so-and-so.
Yes.
You know, like we like you because of the way you make it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's feedback I get. Once in a while, I'll get crossover. You know, some like it seems like a viewer that really loves Noob or Monto or, you know, some of the other folks that edit a lot. They'll be like, you know, like, why don't you do this? Like, and it might not be the best match for them. And that's okay. But I know that there's so many people that appreciate my style, and they might not necessarily like how the others do the editing. Like for me, I think a lot of the draw is that they still get to experience like the tension. Like at the end of the day, like Dead by Daylight was meant to be kind of a scary, intense game, right? With like these moments of, you know, you're getting chased by a killer. He's like, you know, he's gonna.
I couldn't do it, man. I give you a lot of credit. That's what I was gonna say. I give you a lot of credit for being able to do a game like that. Like
really?
Oh, dude, I couldn't do a scary game. Like the whole time on my edge. Nah, like I could only do that for so long because that's so scary. Just the fact that it's scary. I'm terrible with fear like that.
Yeah, so Dead by Daylight's one of those games. Like I feel like that's still intact for me, and I think the viewers realize that like I'm still on that in that space of like where this is a game that's still really intense, and they want that experience. Versus some of the other guys, I mean, they've mastered the game to a degree where they can humiliate killers, right? Like run circles around them and whatever, and like make funny moments. And at that point, the game kind of becomes almost something else, right? Like that's like different from what it was at the start.
Yeah.
And so I get like the draw, and I think, you know, like the content they make is great. But I feel like we both have we all have our own place, like in the like our own appeal with our content. And you know, it's awesome. Like it's awesome, just like you were saying, Fruit, with Destiny. Like the fact that like there are people who want funny moments in Destiny, like that's beautiful, right? When it comes to YouTube, like be able to do something different and find the viewers.
Yeah, 100% agree. I get a lot of people that will be like two sides of the coin. Be like, I came here to see an actual guide on this gun, but instead I got this and it was funny. I subscribed. Or I get, I came to YouTube for this gun review and I got this babbling idiot. Like
I didn't get anything I wanted.
like just stop. And then it's like, all right, fair enough. I'm sure he's gonna go watch like Dado's video or something.
Right.
And it's just understanding that you kind of mentioned it too. And it was a harsh reality you got to learn eventually. And I had to learn on YouTube is you can't please everyone. There is far too many people out there with different opinions and ideas. For one person that would love what I do, there's plenty more that would probably hate it or just not be interested. So it's understanding that the product you service, in a sense, like this entertainment product you're giving out, isn't going to be appealing to everyone, but are you appealing to the people you want to appeal to, or your audience? Exactly. And that's really
I feel like it's more evident now, Christian, in your Ghost of Tsushima playthrough. Like I think it's just everybody is telling you. Just backseat city.
Just backseat.
Oh god,
and,
really?
And on Fruit's Reddit too, you have people like do this, and then literally after the video comes out, people are like, "No, that was wrong." And then after another video comes out, people are like, "Well, actually, he should have done this." Next video. Did you guys know that that's not right? Oh my god, dude.
There was a post where a guy was like, "Fruit, you should do this," and then he's like, "Oh, I just watched the video. I haven't played myself. I just thought this like."
He's like, I thought that's how it worked.
Yeah, I just thought
my
like,
bad.
why didn't you do? Oh, that's because you like can't. Oh, that makes sense. It's like, it's just. I tried to tune most of that out. I know I won't please everyone.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, I mean, you got to you have to like appreciate, like you have to have some awareness as to like what you're offering viewers, and also like with that filter, even the feedback filter with people with the backseat gaming. Like I feel like that's something that creators always have to deal with, and I see creators deal with that in like varying degrees, like of comfort. Some people hate it, some people are okay with it. One thing that and I don't know if this is kind of like what you're touching on, but like some of that feedback sometimes viewers just don't realize that you may have already recorded a bunch of gameplay, and you know you just can't do the things that they want you to do. Like it's already done. But you know, at the end of the day, I don't think like just given that we've seen these sorts of things for so many years, that's just how like YouTube culture I think is always going to be. We just have to
Yeah.
accept it. You know,
It ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's coming anytime soon.
No, and I mean, I can't blame some people. And usually, if they're bothering to like make that comment, it's because they're invested or something. So like,
right.
yeah, it's coming from a good place usually.
Yes, they mean well.
But like, yeah, like this playthrough, for instance, I'll be like 5 episodes ahead.
Yeah.
So someone will be like, yo, you know, you can do this. And so it's like 5 episodes later, I'm like, yo, just saw this comment. Like, okay, I get it now, but I've already figured that out. Or like, so and so. But I understand why some people can get a little perturbed. Yeah.
And I think with games where there is progression or there's even choice in like how you evolve a character, I do think that viewers do need, like, it would help so much if they realize that everybody plays games differently, right? Like you see this on Twitch. You could watch let's just go into like something like a MOBA, right? Like there's so many choices for like what character you choose, what sort of masteries you invest in, what items you like to build while you're playing, like which lane you prefer. Are you somebody that likes ganking or jungle? You know what? Like
if I don't get one of them, I rage quit. Sorry.
Right. Well, but viewers like when they project essentially like this is how I want to play, and I expect this of you. Like it's not realistic, right? Like every single human has their own preferences for how they're going to play something, and as creators, we're just sharing like our experience with you, right? Now I will say, like, of course, like games where there is some sort of input. If I'm a noob at something, like I was playing Rogue, was it Rogue Company? Yeah, Rogue Company. I'm a noob at that game, and I like when I was playing it, I was playing it live. I'm like, you guys have any, point? I'm all ears. Like at that point,
tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, like but if I'm pretty proficient at something, or even if it's like DVD or something, if somebody's like, oh, get rid of this perk, it's garbage. Well, like if it's just like, oh, this perk's garbage, but like I really like it. It works for me, right? Like, I don't know. I think viewers need to understand that, like, at the end of the day, we're playing, the way we want to play our games. So,
well, I have to tell you something. So, as a content creator myself, I guess, my little brother, you were the first person that I ever did a video with. That my little brother, and when I say little brother, people always are like, "How little is he?" He's like 22. All right, he's like, I just can't help but say little brother.
I imagined like a 10-year-old.
Yeah, see, but I just call him little. When I say that, people always imagine he's like a little 10-year-old kid running around.
Right,
he's 23. But he's like the first, like he's like, he's kind of like he's like a shy kind of kid. So he walks in my room and goes, "Made a video with Ohmwrecker, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like a really cool guy. He's like, "That's sick. I like to watch him a lot." And then just like laughed. Like that was it. But like for him like to come to me and say that, I was like, yeah, like I know awesome. Ohmwrecker. And then that was like 2 days later, because we had played like Hotline something with Ohm, right? What was it? It was like that game. And it was like you could pick up a gun.
The fighting game?
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, I can't remember what that was.
But it was me.
It was
like some sort of a cyberpunk.
I don't know.
Theme. Yeah.
Right.
I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So we were playing that, and then it was me, you, Shark, and Christian. And then I think 2 days later, we like joined the voice call, and Dork and Blue were like, "You guys recorded with Ohm," and
Oh
I was
my
like,
God. Really?
I was like, yeah, it was really fun. I put Blue on the spot here, but Blue was definitely fangirl. It was really
Wow.
funny. Yeah.
I
Listen,
appreciate that. Tell your brother I
will-
said hello.
oh,
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's like, it was totally fine. Well,
Yeah.
No,
So
oh God, sorry.
it gave me a lot of street credit with my little brother. So I was like, my man.
he's like, you're cool now. Like, thanks, little bro.
That's awesome.
No, but
No,
I think, well, for me, I had that fangirl moment with Sea Nanners.
Really?
Because that was like,
Yeah.
that was like why I started YouTube.
Yeah.
I was like, I love Sea Nanners. And it was PAX South, like the first PAX South.
Mhm.
I don't remember when that was. Like 2014 or something.
Mhm.
But went there, met him, and that was like blew my mind. I got to talk
Dude,
to
can
him.
you tell him the cringe thing that you did?
Yeah, I will. Don't worry.
Oh boy.
I got to meet him. Like I saw his panel afterward. He was doing like meet and greets and stuff.
Right.
I talked to him or whatever, and I'm like, yo, I know you're busy right now, but I'd love to just like, pick your brain or whatever when you're done. So like he got through everybody. He spent a lot of time talking to me. It was really cool. But at the end of it, because I was like, oh, I'm like starting this channel and blah blah blah, and where I am now, and people do it to me. I know to him, I must have just been like, he must be like, who is this dude? Like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so I was like, like, I'd love it if you check out my channel. Like, I don't want you to shout me out or anything. Just like, if you get the time, just knowing you saw it or even giving feedback would be great. I'm sure he never did. But like, I had a little note card or whatever. It's like, this is all I had. So I wrote down my channel name, and then on the back, I still to this day, so out of character, I wrote, one day we're going to make a video together. And I gave it to him. He didn't see that. So I'm sure he pulls that out later. And then it's just like a double, like, yikes. Like, this guy. And then fast forward, I think 3 years, and I made a video with him. And I never told him that. He still doesn't know that. But for me,
are
that
you
was
that
like
weird kid that left that note on my business card, bro?
I still have it.
He's like, I've kept it this whole time. But yeah, that was my like senpai. So
And you said you made a video? You were in
Yeah.
a session with him? Oh, that's
Mhm.
awesome.
oh, and
Yeah.
the crazy thing is he reached out to me
Oh.
because it was ironically too, it was Fortnite. Before the Battle Royale when it was
Yeah.
Save the World.
Oh yeah.
And we were doing a sponsored video.
Okay.
And I guess he saw me on the list of like people doing it or whatever, and he
Yeah,
wanted to make
yeah.
a video with someone. And so for whatever reason, he was like, yo, I saw you doing a thing. I was like, you know me? Like, how do you But it was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, dude. I guess I could squeeze you
Uh.
like on Tuesday.
I'll pencil you in. I'm a little busy, but yeah, we ended up recording that video together, and that was just like my yes, like I
There
did
you
it.
go.
That was like my life goal at that point was like that was it. I peaked.
Yeah.
All downhill from there. Pardon your regularly programmed podcast listening for this short ad break.
Normally I don't do this, but I wanted to tell you guys about a podcast called Wild Wild Tech, a new podcast about the wildest, most bizarre, most interesting stories about technology and how it's shaping our culture. Technology is everywhere, from smartphones to connected cars, complex to algorithms, but you may not be aware that technology is affecting our daily lives in weird ways. Like some of the stories of Wild Wild Tech covers. All the way from epidemiologists studying things in World of Warcraft, Disney Plus censoring Daryl Hannah's butt and Splash. Animal Crossing may seem cute and harmless, but there's a hidden black market of digital animal trafficking. Wild Wild Tech brings you stories about your favorite tech companies and products that you won't believe are real. At the end of the episode, you'll hear a short clip from Wild Wild Tech, and you can subscribe to the show if you like what you hear. Listen and subscribe to Wild Wild Tech on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to now. You can also find the link in the episode notes that will take you right to the show. Thank you, Wild Wild Tech. Do you have a YouTube senpai, Ohm? Or like anybody like that you can think of? Or at one point?
I would say the closest like was just right at the beginning. You know, Total Biscuit had given me advice, and he was helping me. Like he introduced me to somebody at Polaris, or actually, well, they were called the Game Station at the time. But but then one day he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, Worms, which Worms was God, I don't even know. Clan War or no, it wasn't Clan Wars, it was before that. One of the, Worms had released a new game and he's like, it's got multiplayer. Do you want to play it? And I was like, what? It's like I still had like 3 or 4,000 subs at the time. I mean, was he over a million he was probably close to it, but I just remember like, what? Like
Me?
total biscuit. Like you want to play a multiplayer game? Yeah. So like that was a pretty surprising moment for me. I remember being a bit nervous, but it went well. It was a good session, and yeah, I mean that was kind of mind-boggling though, because I just viewed him as like a superstar in the YouTube space. It was crazy, and he didn't usually do a lot of multiplayer stuff either. You know what I mean? So yeah,
VIP?
that's probably yeah.
Now, Blue, what's it like to talk to your YouTube senpai?
Oh, come on.
Don't do that,
At
man.
one point, I was the fanboy, but now I have just learned to talk like a normal human being and say hi to the inspirations, and we're vibing.
Do you remember
Dude.
like what you like watched of Ohm? Or
I just remember the entire crew when I was in college watching them. Oh my god, in college. I'm old. I'm having an existential crisis right now. Yeah, back in the day when I was a kid, I used to watch, but yeah, the entire crew used to watch all the time, so I was just familiar with them. And then, as we know, me and Dork were extremely jealous that you guys just happened to be recording with Ohm. But of course, we never said that until now. But
it was funny.
That's crazy. I had no idea, man. When I met you and Dork, like I had no idea.
Yeah,
but
we knew, but like we were trying to like, hey, we're playing with Ohm, Blue. Like, like, oh wait, Ohm's there. Okay, like I'm probably like,
I don't really want to play Ohms here. I love that.
oh, I love this game.
Yeah,
Was
it's
it
such
really?
a good. Yeah, what is it, by the way? Like, where do I download it?
Oh,
No.
that's funny, dude. It
But
makes
it's
me
just-
wonder because we played Mind Night too around then, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
You weren't
Mind
throwing me
Night.
any like easy wins or anything when we were playing.
Oh no,
right?
no, no,
He's
no,
like-
no, 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 no.
Okay.
Just because I was fanboying out doesn't mean I see when
no
I
free wins here.
See, when I fanboy, I still have to treat people equally. Because if I don't, then you'll know. So
I think it
Like,
was.
something's wrong with this guy.
I think it was
Yeah.
Ohm early on when we were recording. I think it might have been that game we recorded. I can't remember for the life. Like Hyper
I can't
Jam
either.
or-
Well, you know
It
what
was,
screwed me up?
Overhead.
Hyperscape screwed me up because I used to know the name.
yeah,
and
I
now
think it might be
can't.
Hyper Jam.
Yeah,
maybe.
Hyper Jam. There you go.
Hyper
There you
Jam?
go.
Okay.
Was that it?
Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for those curious, I'm pretty sure that's the first video I did with Ohm.
Yes.
Mhm.
oh yeah, that the swingy.
It was
Yeah,
super
yeah.
random. Christian
It's
was just like,
super
"Do you want to
fun
record
game.
this?" And
It was kind of like
sure.
Bonsai Royale, kind of. I
Yeah.
think about it. But somewhere around then or after, Ohm and I were talking, and it was something about recordings. Like we were gonna play something. He goes like, "Oh, okay, like should I know something? Like do like when you record, do like they go easy on you? Like you get the stuff." I was like, "Oh no." Like if we're doing a video, it's
Quite
like
the
no one's.
opposite.
Yeah, it's like no one's just giving me free content. Like I gotta. He's like if we're doing this, like should I do? I was like, no, they don't worry about
They
it.
go all in.
No
Like,
mercy.
That's funny.
That's
If
part of
anything,
it.
we try harder if the content is on the line.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I thought
That's
it was so
funny,
funny.
man.
I was like, yeah, no. They probably
Yeah,
would
'cause
if I asked them to, but that wouldn't.
No,
be fun.
that was such a fun game to play, and I remember, because I think that's when I first came across your channel. I heard about the game, and it wasn't on a lot of people's radar, and I think I searched for it on YouTube to look for gameplay, and you were, I think, probably one of the first results for.
Bah, let's go.
Hey, thanks
Yeah.
YouTube
The algorithm
yeah,
working for you this time.
finally working. Let's go. I guess I knew how it worked then, but now it's just scratching my brain.
How long ago was that video? I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna be Jamie right now on our
What, a year and a
podcast.
half, probably 2 years.
I want to say early 2018.
Yeah,
Hyper Jam,
probably.
Mr.
I don't know.
Fruit.
Nowadays, it's like, man, that video was like 2 months ago, 3 years ago. Like what?
Yeah.
It all feels like it flies
February
by.
15th, 2019.
Oh, 2019.
So somewhere around there.
Oh, so yeah, I was too far off.
Yeah.
Gosh, I thought it was longer than that.
That
Yeah.
game was a
Yeah.
blast. I think, man, I wish they kept updating it with like more content. I always had fun playing it. Did you ever play Showdown Effect?
Showdown
don't
effect.
think
Oh,
so.
dude, it was such a fun game. Also kind of like a fighter type, but it was a side-scrolling fighting type game. Paradox made it. But no one ever seems to remember that game. I mean, granted, it came out in like, I don't know, 2013 or something, but
Yeah, I'm seeing 7 years ago when I look it up.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
and
Yeah,
7
I
years
love
ago
games
in
like
video
that.
game time is
Yeah.
a long, long time, sadly.
Yeah.
Well, the worst is when there's like those really fun games that just are so easy to make videos on, and it's just like this was made to make videos. This is so much fun,
Yeah.
and then the interest just isn't there. Yeah,
Yep.
you
Like
get
Gotham City Imposters.
okay. Well, I wasn't
come on,
really,
man.
yeah, come on. But you get
Well,
like
to
a
be
video
fair-
out of it, and then it's just
Yeah.
like,
I'll
well,
tell you, I feel that with like Fall Guys. I feel like it's such an awesome game for content. It's perfect in every way. And now internally, I'm hoping, I'm like, please be a good game to post. And like so far, I think it's done pretty decent. But you know how YouTube is? The viewers can just flip on that stuff in a second and go to some other game, and
Mhm.
you might want to keep posting it, but
No,
all of a sudden it's
no.
getting like half the views, and
I mean that is
yeah,
a
it's-
great example is Rogue Company for me.
really,
I just heard about it whatever like the day it released or something. I was like, oh, all right, whatever. Shooters
Yeah.
are a thing I mainly do. I was like, all right, I'll make a video on it.
Choo.
And
Yeah.
it did pretty well for me. And I was like, all right, I'll just do another one randomly. And then it
Yeah.
did like I think even a little bit better. I was like, oh. Okay.
I was like, there's your mistake.
Let's do a third. Like a fourth of the views. I'm like, all right. Well, and it was like a day later. It's like, well, all right, we had fun. That's
Damn.
We tried.
yeah. I was like, no.
Now, I will say this: some games are deceptive at times. I look back on even Dead by Daylight, and Dead by Daylight started strong and then kind of petered off a bit. Now, if I had retired it at the time, it wouldn't have been like my longest running series. And I will say too, with Modern Warfare, the latest Call of Duty, I heard a lot of people complaining when that came out that the videos weren't doing so well. But now, like, there's channels that have made that like a regular series, and it still does pretty strong. I mean, do you still do Modern Warfare, Fruit? Or-
Occasionally. I mean, for me, it's kind of petered off because what I've noticed, the biggest part is like people want Warzone right now,
Right. Yeah.
and
Well, yours
most
don't
of
want
our-
Warzone.
well, my audience mainly doesn't like battle royales, which
Okay.
sucks for me
Oh,
because
they never let you. They never let you forget it.
yeah, because like the only
Ooh,
thing
you are
coming out these
unlucky.
days is
Low-
Fortnite.
battle royales. Yeah, God, dude, I would have hopped on that train. But the the other thing part though too is like I don't like battle royale solo. Like that's
Right.
not fun for me. It's not fun for me to play. It's not fun for me to make a video on. And so I only like to play with friends. And out of our friend group, aside from Rob, who will play battle royale with me consistently, like there's really no one else that's like, I
Yeah.
love battle royales or like Warzone. So then I just don't really do content on it. And then the few that I did, like outside of like the first day or two, like the initial hype, it's never really picked up. Because again,
And I'm also just bad. Like I'm not good enough to like.
no. I was good, but at this point, I'm sure I'm just not
Well,
played in.
we have that problem. We're like good enough to just kind of be like enough, but then like if you're better, you just.
But not 25 kill
No,
wins. It's like-
absolutely not.
now,
I mean, I see people getting like
Not these fingers.
or what was it, like 120 kill game Warzone. I'm like, how is that even
Wait, what?
possible? Yeah, people will like they're so good now. Their squads will just spread out, and each person drops like a 30 bomb.
Oh,
I'm like 80,
Yeah.
80 damage. What up?
I'm like, I downed that dude, didn't finish, but that was my I lost my
Right.
gulag. Sorry, boys. Next one.
Yo, res me.
So let me say this first off. If I'm always down for BRs, so if you find yourself in that position again, hit me up, man. I'd be down to play. But with that, I am curious what your thoughts are. I've always been in the camp that now I don't believe in practice makes perfect, right? Like I don't really believe in like there is no perfection. You could always do, get a little better. But I think practice makes better. Do you believe that if you really focused in on a game like Warzone, or a mode like Warzone, that you could get to that skill level, of being able to like separate out and just slay? Or do you think that like you've got a limit to your skill?
At one point, I would say no. or I would say yes, that I could do that.
Mhm.
The only problem now is I'm not interested enough. Like, because back in the day, like I grinded like Halo 3 and the first Black Ops and stuff, and like I just went in, and I only played one game, and I played that game.
You got to prove something.
I played that game every day, hours and hours. I was super competitive, and now it's like a game can't hold my attention for more than like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So if I felt that strongly about Warzone, two things would have to happen, which I did really like Warzone. One, I'd have to like it that much, and then two, the views would have to be there. Like the community support would be like, yeah, this is dope, keep going.
Right.
Because the problem I have now when I game is like, oh, I love this game, I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna upload it. We hate this. All right, I'm not playing this game anymore. Like not even in my free time, because it kind of just bums me out. Like, well,
we hate this.
Yeah, like or like bombs. And everybody's like, oh, but we love it, make more. And I'm like, yeah, if I do, I'll kill my channel. So it's like, it'll bum me out. So what would have to happen is those two things. And honestly, I think I could get up there.
I was going to say, yes, you could for sure. Yes.
My community loves to troll me, but I'm actually not bad.
You're raw.
I mean, you did just the Fortnite world champ. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say you did just place in a tournament. We didn't even talk about that when that happened.
Yeah,
by the way.
What happened?
So you know that new game Rocket Arena?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Rocket Arena. Yeah.
So I played in the Twitch Rivals tournament on launch day. And they had, somehow I was a captain, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of other captains, and the captains were like,
Fruit.
Yeah, which I was like, don't use my Twitch name. It's Mr. Whatever. And so, but the other teams were like Booga, who's the Fortnite world champion.
Right.
And then like Nick A30, who I know is a big Fortnite player. Cypher PK, really big.
Damn, you had some high skill players in there.
Yeah. Well, then there was like some pros, like pros and the other shooters, and then a couple just content creators.
Right.
And until the finals where we met Booga's team, we were 14-0. We just swept. I was fragging out. It was going great. And I was like, guys, look, I'm not bad at this game. Like, and at most games, it's just I never get the chance to do this. And like that tournament was fun for me because I like competitive stuff.
Yeah.
But I just never really get that chance. Like for me, like knowing there's like a prize pool on the line, but like also like something to prove, like just compete.
Like pride.
People are gonna be watching. Yeah, it's like it's a tournament. So I was like, all right, yeah. Went in, had a lot of fun, did really well. We got second. We were the only people that took a game off Booga's team. And I'm still upset about it because they literally in their game winning interview, they asked, they're like what got you guys this guy? What stroke? Like, what got you guys this win? And they said, the scrims we had with them yesterday. Because we ended up scrimming them the night before against my judgment. I was like, guys, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, they were scouting you.
Yeah, we played 5 games with them.
You got beat them
4-1. We beat them 4-1. Like, we destroyed them. I was like,
so they learned your play style. Like, how you guys...
So, like, after the first game we played, we destroyed them. I was like, guys, let's stop. They're like, that's rude. We can't just be like, no, guys, we're going to head out. I was like, it's a tournament. There's money on the line. Stuff like, who cares? But they're like, no, we'll play it out. And then, sure enough, they changed their whole comp, their play styles. They were citing us like, what are they doing? During this tournament, they had their teammates watching our streams. Like, oh, they're picking this person. Oh, they're doing this. Yeah, they were. And I can't blame them. Like, there's money on the line. It's a tournament. We weren't doing that. Guess we should have been.
Yeah, there was like no rule saying not to do that or anything like that.
But so like they were learning our strats and all this kind of stuff. Fair enough. But so like when it came time, they knew what we were going to do. We still got a game off on them, but just knowing we would have won had we not done that scrim. It's just...
Was the series 2-1?
Yeah, it was 2-1.
It also should be like best of 5. I don't know why they made group play so long and then only made the playoffs 2 games. Like that's why I didn't. That didn't make any sense. It's like, why do I have to sweep these guys 5 times in a row, but then play the good guys only twice? That's what I was thinking about.
Twitch Rivals. I did a Uno tournament with them, and if I recall, I won like my division, and
of course you did.
But then they did, but then they did like this finale match, and it was really just like it was a one thing, like one round, and whoever won it won the whole thing, and that was like the best top prize. So like all that grinding to like win like everything prior was really not for a whole lot. It just came down to this random 7, the 7-0 rule. It's
Yeah.
just chaotic in itself.
Yeah.
It came down to that. Like, and then they were declared like the whole winner of the whole thing. And I was like, dude, this is kind of weird. Like, this is like a bonus round. And like that
You're like,
determines the winner.
You guys are killing the comp Uno scene. Like, this could be something. Come on. Like, take yourself seriously. Come on.
Yeah, I was in a Twitch Rivals tournament for Teamfight Tactics, and I got out of my pool. I hadn't played in like 3 months.
Was that
got out of my
TwitchCon,
pool?
right?
Yeah, I got out of my pool, and then the next, like, you did 2 games, but then you were like streaming to your chat, and like people were reading their chat and getting advice from their chat on like
no
what
delay.
comps to do. Yeah, there was like no delay or anything, so it was just like it was just super confusing. So
Yeah.
Pretty lame.
I got rolled.
I do
but
Probably
appreciate
not
though,
because of
that,
that
like,
though.
I do appreciate the Twitch Rivals tournament, though. That it was fun to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I think there could be some.
I mean, I feel
changes
that
would
thing.
be. For the
I was a
better.
Karen when I filled it out. I was like, they were reading chat, and I saw it, and I'm pissed. I
Hilarious.
trained my whole life for that tournament. Mr. Miyagi gotten hurt and everything for it.
They're like
I'm
never
pissed.
inviting again. Like
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi and I are never coming to this dojo again. This is bullshit.
You know, it was a lot of fun. Because then back in the day, Rob and I we were on our self-proposed semi-pro MLG team.
Oh damn!
And we were going to go to Denver. Was it
We were gonna get
MLG
rolled by a bunch
circuit
of 18-year-olds.
Denver, whatever? Yeah.
We were gonna go.
But
get
finally,
rolled.
the circuit was coming to Denver, and we're like, "Bro, this is our time." We got another one of our classmates, and I remember we needed a 4th. And there was this guy I'd been playing with for a while. I don't remember how I met him, but he's like some dude, mid-30s, family, kids.
Right.
And I was like, "Dude, we need a 4th. Like, are you down?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." And then famously, Rob is like, "Yo, I'm going on vacation."
I had.
Oh
like,
no!
Yeah. Dude, what was I tell my dad? I was like 13, 8, dad.
Maybe if you'd let us go, then we would have been like, "Oh wow, we suck," and then we could have done something else with our lives. Like realize, like, wait a second, we're not good.
Maybe my dad was just saving us that embarrassment. It was like, I'd rather take my son to Disneyland for the 18th time.
I imagine it was like, it's like some Joe Randy that only plays local Smash with like his 2 buds in the cul-de-sac. And it's like, "I'm taking Evo," and he shows up and just gets like 0-2'd. He's out of the turn. He's like, didn't even get a stock. Like,
Yep.
Like, I don't even think we're playing the same game.
Yeah.
Wave dashing? What's that?
Yeah, that would have been the equivalent, probably.
Yeah,
of
looking
throwing
back,
it, but
dude, we got smoked and rolled. It would have been hilarious, though.
it would have been fun though.
Yeah, I still would have.
But crushing, yeah.
I think that's a moment that every gamer needs to go through because, like, I think a lot of folks like start off kind of playing competitive games with friends, and the skill cap only goes so high. But once you realize what's really out there, like
Online
I remember
gaming
even
woke
playing-
me up.
yeah, Like,
Yep.
between FPS or even RTS, like it can be mind-boggling, like the differences in skill.
RTS,
RTS is. I was gonna say RTS like is a whole other level.
Oh my God,
Of
dude.
like when someone's better at you at an RTS and is like using their feet and like, that's not okay.
I feel so smooth brain playing RTSs. I get on, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna build. Oh,
Yeah.
I just got this upgrade. Their whole army is. How did they make? It's like, oh my.
Right, dude, the APM exercises they do with you see, like, have you ever seen StarCraft videos where they're like clicking and
'cause I
dragging,
used to-
just
Mhm.
it's insane. And I got into that for a bit. I got that competitive for a bit with even StarCraft 2,
Yeah, me
chasing
too.
the Diamond League and stuff like that. Then they ended up making like 1 tier above it.
Never
But
made it out of
holy
silver.
shit. You know what it reminded me
Nuts.
of? You guys went to college, right?
Didn't finish,
Okay.
but yes.
Didn't finish,
Did you
but I'm
Okay.
still paying for it.
Did you ever feel like when you were in college level like math courses, like your brain, you could literally feel like new folds happening in your brain? You know what I mean? Like your
My
brain's
folds,
like
my
growing.
folds were going away. Like, they were going away.
Yeah,
Like,
my folds reached their cap, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
your Folger's like, I'm a head out.
Yeah, my folds were smoothing.
So, But when I was playing at that level of like RTS, like it felt very similar to like the math feeling of like your brain's like being conditioned in a different way, and it's like almost like expanding. Um, but it's really tedious, man. Like when you play at that level, it takes a lot of the just fun of RTS. Like, oh, cool, you got all these units, and you got these special abilities, and it's at that point, it's about like precision and micromanagement. You've got this Zergling that's or you've got this army of Zerglings, and you're literally moving tiny little Zerglings out right before they die, so
Or
you can
like
rotate them back in, so the auto targeting breaks. Like,
the Protoss sentries, whatever they are, getting them and
Yeah.
blinking them back when they're weak, and like changing
Yeah.
your front line back and forth. Like,
yep,
and not only this,
Dude.
like you watch the pros though, they're doing that, and then they're
Yeah.
swapping with their macros back to their base, upgrade back to
Yep.
this. Like, how are you do?
you have to be so efficient.
We did
I,
a video on it one time, and
yeah,
when I tell you, I was in the most unfamiliar waters I have ever been in.
they were both like, "This is the worst thing we've ever done."
That
Like,
it was
I
like
hate
the
this.
first. That was the first time I've ever played something like that. I look
Okay.
at something like that, like a game like that, and I just go, "Nope." Like I just know. Like I look at League, and I just kind of learned MOBAs recently,
Yeah.
and even before then, I saw MOBA, and I was like, "Nope." Like that just seems
Yeah.
like way too much. But like Starcraft, like way over.
Oh man, yeah, StarCraft. It's it just
It's a whole
requires a
different
crazy
beast.
level of skill. We talked about Company of Heroes earlier. That might be a little bit easier because the combat's a little bit slower paced. But yeah, StarCraft. Oh my god,
Maybe
The
I'll jump
actions
into
from-
that one then.
Yeah,
Maybe that.
Let's go back. I hear the scene's popping, dude. Nuts.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish stuff like Dota 2 and like RTS games did better on YouTube, because I genuinely love those games. Like in my head, I think
I'd
to
love to do
myself like,
League.
yeah, like, well, I think to myself like, if I ever like quote retired, I would so badly want to go and play those games again, like a lot. Like I miss
Yeah.
those games all
Are
the time.
RTSs like still a game that like see new franchises come out and stuff, or is it pretty much just like you can play StarCraft and that's pretty much it?
Yeah, not so
For
much. I mean,
some, but
Total War is still kind of a thing, which it's like turn-based and real time. But yeah, there's not too much. I mean, once in a blue moon, I'll see some press release or something on a new RTS coming out, but it's very, very rare. Like I figure we'll eventually see maybe. Actually, here's one thing I'm hoping for: Blizzard. I would love to see Warcraft 4. Like I know everyone's like, "Oh, World of Warcraft." World of Warcraft is built off an RTS franchise. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Warcraft to me is like an RTS game. That would make me go, like, I'd be so happy, dude, if I saw Warcraft 4 get announced.
They like remade their old
Warcraft
like,
3.
Warcraft
and it's
3.
like terrible, right? And it's like notoriously very bad.
It had
I
some
heard.
negative feedback, yeah.
I don't remember what,
uh,
but yeah, people were pissed.
People are like, this is an RTS. What is
I appreciate what they did, but yeah,
Oh,
the
done.
launch was definitely rocky. I think I only played it like once or twice. I mean, the thing is, like, you go back to those like that era of RTS, it was cool. Warcraft 3 launched a lot of games, like the modern day MOBAs all came from Warcraft 3. That's where Dota launched. Dota was a mod
mod.
for Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually why I picked up League, was because I was doing StarCraft 2. And I was like, all right, I'm too smooth brain for this. Like, I'm sitting here like researching, watching videos, like taking notes, doing strategies, and like I'm still in silver, dude. And like
Right.
I can't do this. It's ruining my life. Like I think I mentioned here on the podcast earlier, like one day I'd been playing it so much, I woke up before school, walked into my shower, and thought to myself, Control B S. Because I remember Control B was the shortcut to the build menu, and then I was like,
Yeah.
shower, it's got to be S. And then I was just sitting there, I was like, why
I
isn't the
need
water
help.
turning on? And that's was like, bro, I'm this
Dude.
obsessed and I suck. So I was like, okay. And then my friend's like, dude, play League of Legends. I'm like, what is it? He's like, imagine StarCraft. But instead of controlling a whole army,
no,
you only have to control one unit. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that sounds amazing. It's like, that sounds
Right.
so much easier. And of course, it's not. It's super nuanced in its own way, but it's not like, it's hard in its own way, which I appreciated
Yeah.
and grew to love much more. RTS is just, the crazy thing is, so much of what we have right now is because of StarCraft and StarCraft 2. Just in the gaming culture as a whole, between esport events, live streams like Twitch, And then just the cultural impact it had on so many people that went on to make the games we have now is, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just so much. I mean, you think about even Hearthstone is spun off of the like what Warcraft. It's just like what Blizzard put out back in the day between Starcraft and Warcraft. They kicked off so much of what's big today. I mean, you could even apply that to like hero shooters, because MOBAs in itself kind of made this whole like game genre about being a hero that like evolved, and then all of a sudden you got games like Overwatch and stuff, where you're literally
Battleborn.
playing. Yeah. I mean,
come on, man.
You let it go, man. It's gone.
My Paragon.
People aren't even making remakes for it. That's how dead it is.
Well, they didn't release all the assets.
I don't know why they released it at the same time as Overwatch. That was just the worst.
And why they bothered to... They
Compete.
willingly, like, compared...
Yeah, they were like, oh, we got this.
Yeah.
They did not have it.
Well, here we are today. We know how that worked. The winners write history. And, obviously didn't go very well.
Now, wait. So Overwatch 2 is a thing, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Not in the way that you think it is. It's...
If you don't know much about it, just don't get your hopes up.
Jeez. All I need to tell you is that Overwatch 1 and 2 players will be able to play together, so...
Wait, really?
So that should tell you all you need to know.
It's like...
I forgot about that. You said that and it just immediately pissed me off again.
It's like...
You said that, I was like, you're right. I hate
They're going to be the same matchmaking queue.
Wow.
Same tier, same maps. So
imagine if Fortnite, when they went to Chapter 2 or whatever, when they had that big black hole,
Yeah.
Imagine they
call it Fortnite.
They made
2?
It Fortnite 2. Yeah. Like
instead of calling it Chapter 2.
Yeah. And it's actually
So
pretty
weird.
comparable because it's just like a little graphical update on some characters.
I don't know what else you can do though if you're still playing with the people that are in the first game. That's what we don't.
Well, the primary aspect of the game that they're expanding, which is fair because I mean, in the market, right? People don't always want to play PvP, especially like with characters like Overwatch. So it's respectable. But at the same time,
it's not replayable.
At the same time, though, the primary audience is PvP. So like, why would you?
I can only drop the beat on bots so many times. You know what I mean?
People were expecting like a refresh, like, oh, it's new Overwatch, a whole new system,
sandbox
new
update.
They're going to change the sandbox to the point where it is Overwatch 2, and it's just
Tracer get new skin. Look,
I honestly think Overwatch or like Blizzard was like, hey, they're pissed at us because of the whole China thing. And we have on deck is Diablo on the phone, and look at them, and they're over there eating glue.
Put it
like, hey, Overwatch,
logo. We're going
Overwatch,
live
what do you
now?
got for us?
Like,
and Jeff's like, how about 2? And they're like, fuck it, go. Give
go.
it to 'em.
What the hell?
Yeah, it just looks bad. I think it was more so kind of just a save face kind of thing when that whole thing was going on.
And the reveal of that day was like the PvE content stuff. I was like, okay, that's interesting because when they do the PvE events, they're pretty cool. It's like I'd love to see like they're gonna like fully flesh it out.
Yeah.
And then like so I went to the streams because they're like your favorite streamers are doing it now. And I think I hopped in like XQC stream or maybe it was like Seagull. And I watched it. I was like, this is exactly like the events we have now. All right, there's got to be something different. And then it just ends. And then for 2 hours they just replay this mission over and over. And they're touting like it's got replayability. And after one playthrough of it, I'm like, I'm never gonna replay this. Like,
right.
And that was like their whole thing was like the PvE. Because as far as the PvP goes, we have no idea. But as far as it is, it's literally just like a graphical update a little bit. Like UI looks a little different.
Yeah.
Some characters are getting new skins. But then you get to play with everyone playing Overwatch 1. So clearly there's not going to be much different. There can't be anything different, really.
Yeah. Like the engine has to be the same. Like I truly don't know what could be different about Overwatch 2 if you're literally playing with the same people in Overwatch 1. Like there can't be much to go off of with that.
Yeah, and when did Overwatch come out? Originally?
2016?
Yeah.
I think.
Okay,
April
so it's
or May.
been a little bit.
The summer I met Sid, yeah, so it had to have been 2016.
I was so excited for that. We got a good year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. And then they just like were like, let's break this game even more.
They just got more and more stale.
They kept changing characters, like reworking them, and I was just like, well, what's the point of playing? What's the point of investing time in this character if I don't even know if it's this character?
And it's like they weren't even like working on it. They like castrate a character and then they just make one unbelievably like broken.
Yeah.
New Genji, that was like the first strike, and then they reworked Hanzo, and I was like, you know what?
That's it.
I think they just brought Genji back to old Genji. I think they like reverted a nerf on Genji recently.
To be fair, though, you see this in a lot of hero-based games where they struggle with balance. Like even Dead by Daylight, they just reworked Leatherface. Significantly changed him. Where now people are saying that he's broken. But I feel like it's always a challenge for the devs to like balance that sort of stuff. Where you've got like this, you're trying to balance abilities and like how they interact with like other abilities and other characters and stuff like that. I mean, God, even like the MOBAs, like even League of Legends, we've seen it so many times. Like characters. I mean, I don't know about you, Fruit, or anyone else that plays League, in the call, but like, I would zone in on a character for like 1 to 3 months and like try to master them, and then I'd usually move on to the next one. But like those characters, I felt really invested into. So when they'd get nerfed, it was like.
Yeah, like
what lane do you play?
Or they get buffed, and you're like, "Oh my god, they're gonna be banned every match." Like,
right?
Oh no.
What lane do you play, Gnome? Or like,
I played a lot of mid lane and jungles.
Oh,
jungle man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say like very similar to like League. Although League, I think, has the benefit of one having such a. The crazy thing is that game is balanced with 130 characters or something.
Right.
Like most people would argue like it's honestly in its best state right now, which is nuts when you think about it. It's been out since beta, like almost 10 years. Actually, I think it just hit 10 years. And they have all that.
He's pretty bad.
And so like, obviously there's always going to be like outliers, and they have problems, especially with like new heroes. But they also do that where a lot of the older characters, like beta characters, for instance, they've been doing visual and gameplay updates,
right?
Because they're just so old, and like some of the stuff they do, is one ability in a new character. They have to update, and a lot of people will be like that. Like I know you did your best to like try and keep him the same, but like I've played Volibear for 9 years, and that doesn't even feel like the same character,
right?
And you're always going to have those people, but I think it's better than Overwatch, because like Overwatch has a problem, and I'm like, there's just something wrong with the sandbox and stuff. And people are, how do you fix it? I go, I don't know, and thank God I'm not on that team, because like you got to rework the whole thing. Like I don't know what you do.
For me
especially
personally,
the shields and stuff. But yeah,
the shields and CC are like, well, CC was a huge problem in Overwatch for a long time, just because of the fact that the less time I'm playing. Like stopping other people, the pros said it like perfectly, is that how to be the best Overwatch player is how well you could stop the other team from playing the game. And if that's how it works, it's like, well then, God, imagine how just pub games are. Like you're just sitting there, just getting stunned for 5 seconds. You're like, this is I don't like this game.
It feels good for the people doing the stunning.
Yeah,
right?
But that's the problem.
Yeah. But yeah, not
how do you
be the recipient?
How do you make something fun for the player, but also not just like Blue said, Omega? Just like I'm not even playing the game anymore.
Yeah.
In addition to the balancing being just wonky, I think the reason a lot of people dip is a reason why I've dipped from several games like Division and Overwatch, obviously, and I basically dipped from Paragon before it died. Is reworking things too often to the point where your player base just isn't familiar with your game anymore.
Yeah.
Overwatch is like the best example where multiple characters just got stripped of their identity. And I'm just like, I don't want to relearn this character again. I put so much time into it.
Right.
And Paragon, that game got reworked over.
Well, they had no idea what they were doing.
They had no idea what they're doing. And at that point, I'm like, I have no idea why I'm playing. And then in Division, they would constantly rework things and change things. And Division is probably the best case of a game having so much potential and then just nosediving. Because in the first month, they had like 4 or 5 balance passes, and it's like, but this why am I playing
Wait,
if all my stuff
what?
is just gonna change? Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay. When it comes to balance, I think devs have to let the dust settle. Like
They have
they've
to,
got to
yeah.
see how it you know how the players like adapt to the changes. You can't just keep throwing more changes into the mix. That's insanity.
Because I
Especially
think
in like a loot-based game.
Or more
oh
changes.
yeah, I mean I feel the same way with some games now. It's like if it's a loot based game, and it's like it's going to take me a lot to invest into this certain style, or like I need to get this certain equipment,
Right.
but it feels so strong. I'm worried in a week it's going to be nerfed, and everything I've worked for is now meaningless. I don't even want to bother.
They have like
Yeah.
that balance anxiety.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I still think League does it really well because they have a balance patch like every week, but it doesn't feel like the game is constantly like, oh my god, it's literally like Vane's movement speed has been reduced by 0.5.
right.
And like you can't even tell, but like they're usually a little more cautious, or like someone's like, this is OP, we'll give it like 3 weeks. Okay, the dust is settled. Or like a new champion, for instance.
Right.
People will scream like either this is
Broken.
the best, their win rate's super high, or like
Yeah.
these guys suck, their win rate's super low. But it's like, okay, this new character has a really high skill ceiling and a really high skill floor. Give it
Right.
3 weeks and suddenly it's like 50% win rate.
Yeah.
Right back to where it should be. But if it was like knee jerk, like some people do, they're but okay, right, let's just
This is busted.
buff
And
that
now
up, and then suddenly it's
This character that people realized is probably not that great is now suddenly unusable.
Yeah. It can go either way. And so
Yeah, well, that's one thing I always found in like MOBAs is it seemed to me that it almost felt like 9 times out of 10 a new character would come out and everybody was like, this character is broken. Like, what the fuck were they thinking adding this character to the game and these abilities?
Idiots.
But people didn't learn how to play and counter. It usually takes 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then all of a sudden people know how to play around this character. And like,
It's easier
you're
to
saying,
type that okay, than having to
it's
learn all
easier.
that.
Yeah, like if you sat on it for 3 weeks and it's still busted, okay,
yes,
then maybe
yeah.
it needs a little bit of a rework. But like the first week, if you're making changes based on what the community is like, this shit fucking sucks, worst devs ever, then maybe it's not the right play.
Yeah. But there's always players out there that insist that like something has to be done now.
Yeah.
And sometimes they could be very aggressive and like, I'm gonna uninstall this game, like, just genuinely angry about like a new champion or a new hero or something like that. But
I think there are
yeah.
some games that do suffer from either too frequent or not frequent enough. Like I would say Destiny, it can get
Not
solved. Yeah, not frequent enough. It can get really stale, solved, and you know what's good and what's not, what's viable, what's not. And it's like, we need something to change. And then it's like,
See you in 3 months.
yeah, or like 6 months, or like
See you in 6
the
months.
next fall update. Yeah. And the thing that was annoying about that game, Destiny 2, was they're touting like, we got a new engine or whatever with this new thing. We can get sandbox changes out frequently, and it's just as frequent as Destiny 1.
Really?
Because we were hoping because in a game like Destiny, I would argue, where for the most part you're usually having to buff stuff because it's not powerful enough.
Mhm.
Like you already have the stuff, and it's not as egregious as like let's say Division, where like this is just going to get gutted and then it's useless.
Mhm.
It's just like, I want to be able to use this and it be viable or something like that. And it's usually the case that we need something to be brought up, and that's never the case. And so it just gets really stale.
Yeah.
That's especially frustrating because it's clear they're capable of doing it. Because like if something that like benefits the player too much happens, a loot patch, next day, disabled. We fixed this. It's like, well, hey, autos have been trashed for like 2 years. Where's that balance?
Like, give us like a little bit, bro. Come on, please. Thanks.
But so it's
Man.
you can see how it can go like either way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I had to choose between not frequent enough or too frequent. I don't know. I guess it depends on how much I like the game. Maybe too frequent, because then it's always different, I guess. Might not always like it. But when it's stale, it's just like,
there's no hope.
Yeah, and the game gets too solved in some cases, where if it's like a balance sake, like Overwatch, like the GOATs, where it's just triple tank, triple healer. And that was like an entire competitive season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the players didn't like it, the viewers didn't like it, but that's the way to win. And it was just the most boring thing ever, and just stuff like that. And I think,
Yeah.
some companies are too trigger happy, and some companies are too shy on the trigger and like worried about what will happen. But I don't know, more people need to find the middle ground.
Might be a hot take. I think Ultimate is like the perfect patch cycle. Incremental changes every 2-3 months.
That's not bad.
I really like
good.
Ultimate. Smash Ultimate. Might
Wait,
be a
what?
hot take.
Netcode trash. Netcode is ass, but
Wait,
terrible.
What is Ultimate though? What is it?
Smash Brothers.
Smash Bros.
Oh, okay. Okay, Smash.
I
Yeah.
personally think they, for me at least, have like probably the best balancing cycles.
if
for
they just
me.
had decent netcode, dude, that game could
Yeah.
be something.
I mean, you can't help Nintendo netcode, but the team at Ultimate, as far as balancing, have like really hit like a sweet spot with Ultimate for me personally. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the crazy thing is one person made that Slippy or whatever, which is the Melee Netplay mod with like rollback, which has a single person has made an infinitely better online experience for a 15-year-old game.
Really?
And yeah, Melee, like you can play now, and no matter where you are ping wise and stuff, like there's a certain rollback and stuff where it's near flawless. It's not perfect.
Wow.
There'll be like 2-3 frame delays, but comparatively,
compared
like,
to 15 frame delay.
yeah, but then you go to all
right.
and it's just like you guys have how much money? I guess they just don't prioritize it. And I guess the sales must show something where it's like whether or not we have good online, they buy it. So it has to be something like that.
Weird.
Yeah, it can be frustrating, but
should we move on to Patreon questions, Christian, or is there anything you want to top off or stop off on before we move on to that? So we're getting
let me
around that
check.
time, I believe.
Oh, well, real quick. New consoles. I want to first ask do you even touch consoles anymore?
Yeah, I mean, rarely, but sometimes.
It's
if
okay, dude.
something's
You
like
can
an
say
exclusive-
PC. It's all right.
Dude, I will always lean towards PC, always. But no, there's some exclusives that definitely bring me in. I'd say if I've got a choice, I'm gonna play on PC. But yeah, I do. I play them.
Okay.
I do.
Because obviously there's been a whole bunch of there's always wars between the two.
Right.
But actually, I don't know if you guys saw Gabe, our Lord Gaben.
Gaben. Yeah.
From the only Valve. Bless up. Our Lord and Father. He was on some talk show recently or something.
Give me a knife and CS.
They asked him, like, new consoles, whatever, what would you choose? And he went out and said Xbox. Like,
interesting.
Confidently, he says Xbox. Now, granted, they're like, why? He's like, it's just better.
Okay, thanks, Gaben.
And a lot of people have some theories. I still believe that he said I have no stake in this, but Xbox is putting all their exclusives on Steam.
Just
yeah.
Whereas Sony isn't. So I would imagine, maybe
bias.
Yeah, maybe biased a little bit.
If I owned a company that got Xbox exclusives, I would be like, oh, Xbox is way better than Sony.
I love Xbox.
Whatever, Gaben. Just give me a sapphire karambit knife.
Is that where he started his career too? At Microsoft? Not at Xbox, but he's a former Microsoft guy too.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know his lore. Let's get him on here, right? Hey,
I mean, I've opened up enough CS:GO cases
you.
to pay for his payment fee on here, I guess.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've been watching the launch, the reveals a bit. I didn't see it, there wasn't anything that stood out to me where I'm like, oh damn, I gotta make a decision on one or the other. To be honest, I mean, you guys probably prefer it. I'd imagine you're gonna get both, right? Like Robbie,
yeah.
I think most creators are gonna end up getting both regardless.
Well, ironically, I think I'm gonna get a PS5, but I don't think I'm gonna get an Xbox. Because if I get every exclusive on the PC, then I'm
Wait,
I'm gonna get it on the PC.
Does Xbox not have any just true exclusives where it's Xbox only?
I mean, I'll get my Xbox
as far as I'm aware.
but That's probably it. Like if I do get one, it'll most likely be like what my Xbox One was like a paperweight and just kind of collecting dust.
Yeah,
So-
moving forward, I'm sure eventually they'll be like, this one is exclusive on Xbox for the first like month, then it'll come to PC. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that.
Yeah.
But even if that was the case, I probably would still just stick with PC. I wouldn't even want to be bothered to have to set it all up. Like,
yeah,
that's
my thing.
Because I think back to like just how inconvenient some previous exclusives were. Do you remember like Call of Duty used to be console exclusive for like a month?
yeah.
GTA 5 for what, a year?
Destiny dealt with that.
Yeah, well, wasn't Red Dead console exclusive? Yeah, it was for a bit. I mean, that stuff drives me nuts.
I hope it's gonna think of the past, like because I think you're starting to see that.
I really hope so. But at the same time, like sometimes you simply cannot play a game anywhere else, like no matter what. I mean, how long did it take for like Detroit Become Human to show up on PC? Like I feel like I played through that like 2 years ago or something. Yeah.
Right, I was gonna say that's on PC now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But the only way I was gonna get to play it when it came out was I had to play it on console. And,
yeah.
Uncharted, I always liked Uncharted. I don't know if that franchise is dead or not, but like, stuff like that, like it does draw me in.
Horizon, ironically, is coming out on PC in like 2 weeks, which is actually a pleasant surprise because I mean, at the time we thought it would never be on anything else.
Yeah.
And so I think like same thing. Like if you wanted to play Horizon, you didn't really have a choice. You'd have to play PlayStation. But I think
I think like if a Sony exclusive comes, I think that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing for everyone that wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Or even for like me and Blue, I know we're gonna get it and replay it. But like especially now on PC with all the better graphic refresh rate, all that stuff. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
I'm there.
I really hope that we see Sony partner. Like I know you're saying that like Xbox is partner with Steam. Sony, hit up the Epic Game Store. Like do something. You know,
I'm sure they're over there like, yo, what up? We got that Fortnite money.
Because I'll be honest. I mean, I studied business in school. I'm always down with competition. It's good for everybody.
Oh yeah.
Like the Epic Game Store, dude. I embrace it. You play now. I get it's a pain in the butt. I'm setting up a new PC like over the past week.
I hate it.
Yeah, like I had to install Origin and Uplay and like so that is a pain in the butt. But competition is good, dude. It lights a fire under like everybody's butts of like we got to make a superior product. And I think we might even see some stuff fall off over time because you look at like Origin and Origin now, like they're dumping EA games on Steam.
Yeah, they're like, well, we tried.
Yeah, so
we had a good run.
Yeah, eventually things will kind of settle out, I think. To be honest, I think that Steam and Epic are going to be like the big two. And it's hard to imagine anything else competing at this point.
And
our overlords.
As much as people hate on it, the reason that will happen, though, is because Epic was forking up the cash to get exclusives.
Yeah.
As much as people hated that, like from a business standpoint, what better way to be like, hey, if you want to play Borderlands 3, like for the first year, you got to play an Epic Games Launcher.
Yeah.
And so, like, as much people's like, I'm boycott, I'm not gonna play for a year. I'm sure, like, 80% of them were just like, all right, yeah, I can't. I'm gonna get an Epic Game Store.
Yeah, yeah.
The one thing I don't like though is if I'm on Steam and I'm like, all right, let me play this Ubisoft game, and then it just throws into the Uplay launcher. So I'm like, wait, why did
I hate that when you play Uno.
Yeah, why did I?
Yeah, why am I doing this?
Right. Yeah. No, I feel exactly the same. It's been such a weird integration essentially of like two different platforms, but yeah, it's been
yeah. Aside from that, we'll get to the Patreon questions, but first, you had mentioned, and I want to touch up on it soon because this is cool, and I actually have heard a lot about these, but I don't know that much about them. You're going to be getting your own U2s soon, is that correct?
Yeah. So normally I'm sure you guys have launched merch, right? Like just shirts and stuff like that. But I've always had an interest in like getting some sort of character made. And so pretty much like when they popped up, I don't know if you remember, like there's all these vinyl dolls and stuff that were like popping up all over the place, all these, different companies making them. But U2 started to pop, and they really seem to have gotten like they've carved like their place in this. It almost as I feel like a leader in the industry at this point. And I'm curious for, do you have a doll right now or anything like?
No.
No. Okay.
The closest thing I did was
Oh yeah, the watermelon.
did that
There you go.
the pillow,
Yeah,
but that's like the most I've gone outside of it's like merch.
Yeah. So obviously like there's a process to it. But yes, that we're finally doing it. A lot of viewers were asking because I've had, a bunch of colleagues, people in like the circles that, I've rolled with that have launched them. And yeah, I got one coming up. A little over a month. It's probably gonna be September launch, but
Ooh.
we're doing a
Be the first one
combo.
I cop. Support my
Oh,
boy.
there you go, man.
Yeah,
Of
we
course,
sign
dude.
mine.
Yeah, dude, hell yeah. But
I'll give it to my
yeah,
buddy.
we're doing a launch like simultaneous with Delirious Cartoons, Gorillafant, Squirrel, and myself. We're all gonna like launch at the same time, and then if people get all of them, which I know is a little bit pricey, but they get a poster. Yeah,
Oh.
custom poster.
Exclusive.
Yes.
People like exclusive.
And collectors are like, okay.
Well,
all right.
it's interesting because like YouTubers, they do a limited run and then that's it.
Dude,
So, like,
I like that. I
Yeah.
love that in certain kind of stuff. And that is perfect.
Yeah. So like there's communities now that are like there's collectors that like want to have every single one. They track
Mhm.
like what's coming out. But it's very interesting. Like just how they do this launch. And I know some creators that were like, oh, it'd be cool if I could get some extra samples. And like they can't even get any more of their original product. Like if they didn't get some extras for themselves at the launch, like that's
Yeah.
it, man. Like I don't know how they make these or whatever, but yeah, they just move on. Like that's it.
All
So
right. Next.
now it might be the same with plushes though. Can you go get more of those? No, that's it.
I mean,
That's it.
I think the reason too, though, is like, especially from a business standpoint, for them too, it's better for inventory and cheaper because instead of being like, we don't know, we're going to gauge, we're going to make 5,000,
right.
hope people buy them. In this
Right.
case, they run it, they know, okay, this is exactly how much we're making.
Yep.
And so from a business standpoint, not only from like a consumer standpoint, where it creates more hype and more interest in a product, but also from a business standpoint, instead of having to gauge or be like, well, we think, it's like, nope, okay, this is the number. We're going to make these many or this
Yeah.
much. This is how much it'll cost.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense for both sides.
Yeah. And I think it builds up some hype in folks, like, to know they got something special.
Yeah.
I did
That's
a shirt
like for
run
me.
once.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I did a shirt run shirt run once with the Ohmwrecker. Like, I've got the skin in Dead by Daylight.
Mhm.
People loved that, man. And I feel like the people that got that shirt, like they're so proud of it. It was there's like 1,000 shirts made. They got a code for the game too at the time. And yeah, I mean
That's
I
cool.
feel like, there's that hype aspect. You want people to feel good about like what they get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's almost like a certain pride kind of a thing
Yeah.
that like you have attached to a shirt. It's not just a shirt for you anymore. It's
Right.
it's something more, and that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So we will keep a lookout for that. You said somewhere September?
Yep. A little over a month. I think we're gonna launch the order process.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Look out for Ohm and his squad's new YouTubes in September.
Yeah, maybe we'll see a Fruit Twos sometime, huh?
Maybe I'm not gonna...
I'll introduce you guys if you guys want.
Hello. Oh, we don't shake hands anymore. Hello, sir.
Yes, elbow bumps.
Yes.
There you go.
So we're gonna move on to the Patreon questions now. This first question is actually for you, It's from Z Train. Says, question for what was your favorite video to record and why is it Moonbase Alpha?
Moonbase. Dude. Honestly, that was, I think, one of the favorites. But the other one that sticks out in my head was GTA. That we had early on GTA when I started playing with like Vanoss and Mini and Delirious and all them. They were going into these servers that are what's it called? With that Rockstar site, Social Club.
Yeah.
There were people on Social Club that were using like modded Xboxes to make these lobbies that were just ridiculous. Like there'd be like UFOs and there'd be like dogs shooting tasers and stuff. Like
I've seen crazy stuff.
yeah, it was the dumbest thing in the world. But they had I think it was dogs shooting tasers, and there were like hookers all over and stuff, and like we were getting tased over and over and over again and falling over and flopping. I have never laughed. That might be like, if I could look back at my whole life, that might be the hardest I laughed in my whole life. Like we were wheezing with laughter. It was the funniest thing in the world. And so that sticks out. But yeah, going back, I guess, to Moonbase Alpha. Oh my God, dude. Such a ridiculous, like, once we learned that you could, did you ever play that game, Moonbase Alpha?
That's
I think
like,
I made a video.
I was gonna say, I think I watched it before. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe I played it with Christian one time.
Dude, Moonbase Alpha. So I learned pretty quickly, along with some of the others, that there's that text to speech thing, where it was
Yeah.
like a Stephen Hawking type of thing, like.
Mm-hmm.
But there were scripts that you could run that would make that voice like sing and just say things like in really weird ways, and oh God, the like the amount of like goofy stuff that we did with that, it was just
it's so funny how much entertainment a Microsoft Sam can bring,
Yeah.
like just by saying boobs or something like that. Like when Michael Scott does that, it's so funny.
It was so good. It was so good. So yeah, that was definitely one of my favorites. It was.
Blue, this question is from you for Z-Train as well. He says, thoughts on Fault or the predecessor of Paragon?
Oh no. Okay, listen. Predecessor is pretty good. I talked to Fruit about this. Me and Fruit have played both as well. Predecessor feels like, okay, let me summarize this. Predecessor feels like a game that can already like start building on what it has. Fault feels like a game that needs a lot of work before it starts introducing more of anything.
Yeah.
Predecessor feels, I don't know how Fruit feels, but I honestly felt like Predecessor felt like it's straight up Alpha Paragon.
Yeah, like first time really I played it.
And that's like the revival project, right?
Yep.
Okay.
The fan projects, actually, even better way to describe it, Fault feels like a fan project.
Mm-hmm.
Predecessor feels like a studio project.
Yeah, like a spiritual successor.
Yeah.
That one weeb kid asks or says, long time list. Oh, what?
We forgot a review, and I have one.
Oh.
Yeah, it's only took us a little, like an hour and a half.
Hey, is that DCP podcast on your phone, man? Get that off of there.
That's episodes you might like. That's not my fault.
Hey.
Blame Apple. You shouldn't watch anything.
Say you don't like that.
That's the only one that matters. GG, you can't see it, whatever. For some reason, I have the OK Boomer episode playing. Okay, yeah.
What's your favorite one?
Here we go. We have 9 days without a review, ? 20 hours ago from Master Chef 33. Thank you for the review.
Thank you, Master Chef.
5 stars, of course. There's a glitch where you can't leave GG over easy anything but a 5-star review.
Yeah. But why would you want to leave anything other than that anyways? Yeah. So
we've told him we won't read it if it's not 5 stars. So. Hey,
that's how you get them.
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
If you are like myself
business, baby,
and enjoy games, good conversation, as well as the content, you will love this podcast. From humble beginnings, the GG Over Easy podcast covers what is necessary while skipping the fluff. Keep up the great work, guys. Been a fan for years, posting this on my work phone since some people need to use Apple Podcasts. Loving the new guest episodes. He put the barf in there. I just made the I made the sound effect. We love audio listeners. We love you guys.
We do. I don't know why you're pointing to him. You always do that.
Fudge, yeah.
You always point to
I pointed to you, audio listeners. Thinking about you.
All right. Question from that one weeb kid says, long-time listener, second-time questioner. Love your work, fellas. Keep it up. This question is for Fruit. Do you receive much fan mail? Would you ever do another fan mail video?
Yeah, I guess I would. As far as do I receive a lot? Not a lot. It's very infrequent. It used to be a good bit more. I mean,
but you don't plug it very often, though.
No, like that pillow's from fan mail. There's a little wooden sign from fan mail. There's something up there else from fan mail. I have the Vex Mytho class. They made me from fan mail over here.
That's cool.
I mean, I do get a good bit. A lot of them are like letters. But yeah, I mean, I don't plug it at all. It's only in the description of my videos, which who clicks click more on the descriptions, well, I could actually go to my analytics and tell you not very many people. So you'd have to go all the way down to see my P.O. box. If you ever want to send me something, you are free to.
Have you ever done a P.O. box, Ohm?
No. I've been asked to do to set one up forever. I just never got around to it because I always figured that like a P.O. box, it would still like reveal so much about my location. The stories I've been told along the way of just like weird things that have happened with some creators, people coming to their house, or even a creator had people going through their garbage, stuff like that. Like, I'm not. Well, to be fair, I guess I could say it as PewDiePie. People know. Like, I guess somebody just bought his diamond play button, but this is back then, like 2013, 2014. People were going through his garbage. And he wasn't 100 million sub channel back then. He was, I don't know, a couple million or something, or 3 million. But yeah, like I guess it kind of just set in my mind of like, yeah, maybe I want to keep some of my info private. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, see, my P.O. box isn't in the city I live.
Oh dang! All right,
Yeah,
there you go.
I throw them
Oh,
off.
that is true, huh?
It could be. I could be anywhere around there. I chose one purposely that was like, it's not next to me, so I don't always check it that much because it's a little farther away. But
so if there's any bread in there.
But there was that story like a year ago, I think, with what's his name? He did Rooster Teeth stuff. He's like the slow-mo guy.
Oh, Gavin.
Yeah, Gavin and Meg Turney. I don't know if they're still together. Are they? I have no idea.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Sure.
They had, I don't know if you guys heard the story, but they had a guy break into their house while they were there.
Yes. Yep.
And he was there to kill him.
Yep.
And he like wrote, they wrote a note and everything, and they were hiding in their closet, and he wasn't able to find them.
Yeah.
But like that, like there are some crazy people out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Is you get somebody determined enough, man, they could just be sitting out that PO box, just waiting 7 days a week.
It's gonna happen.
I'm sorry, Fruit. I'm not trying to scare you.
Yeah,
Fruit's gonna be looking over his shoulder the next time
guys,
he does
I don't have a PO box anymore. Sorry, it's gone. I don't.
Well, no. Here's a question though, for real. Would you eat something out of your PO box if somebody sent
Absolutely
you a bunch of snacks?
Oh,
no.
Because there's people that do, and like some of the stuff that I see like get sent, it's like, oh dang, it'd be interesting to try.
I don't
but
care
at the same time,
no.
I don't think I'd be comfortable.
I did eat one, but it was like ramen, all packaged, and I was like, what can they really do?
Well,
I'm gonna cook it through anyway.
It's funny you say that, Christian, because it says, by the way, it was me, Dio. I mean, the guy who sent you those spicy noodles ages ago.
There you go.
Hey, those are the noodles I ate. My man.
I was gonna leave that out. Like I was like, maybe like he'll be creeped out that he ate the noodles that Christian gave him. But were they good noodles?
I think that was the video I made. Like I made a video like of trying, because he was like, bro, these noodles are hot. I was like, all right, I'll try them. They were.
Were they hot?
Yeah. And then there was someone, hopefully because they don't feel bad, there was someone I think that lives in some Asian country. I want to say maybe Korea or something, and sent me a lot of Asian food. I did appreciate it, and I got it all. But kind of same thing. That one was a little iffy. It's like some of it was like, yeah.
Yeah.
I would never eat food that's coming in the PO box.
So I do appreciate it though.
This question is from Punk. Says, question for everybody. What game makes you rage the most and why? I would probably say CSGO because I suck at it and I want to get good at it. And when I'm bad at something and want to get good at something, I get upset and will put any kind of reason to blame it on anything else, whether that be the sweat on my hands or that Max is loud, rather
That's
than my
never my
shitty
fault.
aim.
Yeah. What about you,
I would say, okay, recent Fall Guys. You will get rage moments in that. I promise you. But another go-to that's probably the closest that could get me to like a rage moment is like Mario Kart at times. When you play with certain people, they're just god tier, and
it's like the only video I've ever rage quit a recording.
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I can't play with those guys anymore. They're too good.
Oh, you got your own people that.
Oh,
dude,
like,
some people are just god tier.
I think, weren't we talking about maybe doing like a potato league
Yes.
Yeah, because like
I need Potato League friends.
I'm like 8th every time, man. Like,
Let's do Mario Kart.
Oh man, come dude. Don't
Blue,
even
you're
get me
too
started.
good for Potato
Yeah,
League.
you're not
Yeah.
potato.
What do you mean?
You're
not
branched
I
potato.
out
know
of
that's what I was gonna
potato.
say, but dude, it's not hard. You can do it.
You have to play with the controller reversed, and then you can join the Potato League.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I forgot.
What about
That's
you, Blue?
I think that's the
game
only
that makes
video
you
I rage
rage.
quit.
Dude, Mario Kart makes me rage pretty hard. No meme.
Does
Just 'cause
Final
how random it
Fantasy
is.
ever make you rage?
No, Final Fantasy's really chill. I would say
Okay.
the only other game that genuinely makes me rage, it's like a very soft rage, is Destiny 2.
Okay.
It's like a very like low key, like actually in my brain rage, where like they just like do something. I'm just like,
It's
why?
like that anime kind of like little vein right here that kind of just twitches kind of thing.
Like you have a rage where it's like, "Oh, this game fucking sucks," but then you have a rage where it's like, God, like why don't they just do this? They could do this.
Like,
right
why
now.
am I here? Like, what?
Dude, why don't there's like 2 strikes in the game they're at it? Like, why don't they add more? Like, there's clearly something going
I
on.
think
Like,
I'd
why are
rather
they
have
not?
a ladder.
Oh man.
It's like in my head, dude. It doesn't leave. I love
Help
Destiny.
me.
I love Destiny too, if it wasn't clear, but it's a severe love-hate relationship, and that game lives in my head rent-free when I'm upset at it.
That's great.
I don't know. I guess the ones that have made me rage the most would be League, just because I've played
But that's
so
more so
much.
because of teammates, right? More often than
Yeah,
not. in
that can be the
League.
frustrating part. Is like teammates, like there's nothing I could do, or I'm upset at myself. I'm like, okay, that's stupid. Call of Duty. Sometimes if I'm just playing by myself, sometimes just like I try to only play it when I record because I can have more fun.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm only playing by myself, I'm like, a lot of times I'm miserable. Like I want to punch a small human right now, and I know that'd get me in trouble. But this is what it's doing, and that's when I was like, okay, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
I'd say like League or COD probably. But yeah,
But
anything
you're
I guess I'm
responsible with the
competitive
rage, right? You're not an
Oh,
all caps rager.
No,
Like-
I don't say things.
Okay.
I don't punch things. Like my rage is contained. It's in me.
The vein thing.
Yeah. Unlike I have some friends who will be the flamers in chat, or the people in voice chat, or
Right.
you over there breaking their desk.
Yeah.
Everyone, rages a different way, but I guess I'm glad that it's always just been like, it's always like contained. Or like I'll
must
make
be
passive
nice.
aggressive comments to myself, but like that's really about
Right.
it.
Yeah, must be nice to be able to have that kind of control. Unlike me.
Like I played this I played a
What?
League game the other day, and just terrible. Like we had this LeBlanc mid lane who was like 0-7, 15 minutes in mid
Is this
lane.
comp?
It was ranked.
Okay.
And is calling everyone dogs as an insult. Like, shut up, dogs. You're all dogs. I guess as like
Like, I love
mongrels or
dogs.
something. Yeah,
Thank
I don't
you.
know. But he was telling like everyone like, you suck. He's like, jungler, never play jungle again. You suck. That was me. He was like going to everybody. And so I just did the opposite. I was like, hey, having a Hoff game. Thanks though. And anytime someone would get a kill, be like, nice job. Or like, dude, you're a beast. You're doing great, guys. And I just tried to go the exact 180. And you know what? I left that game not feeling as bad.
Yeah.
Because I was forcing myself to be nice. I was like, that sucked. But
Way to take the high road, Mr. Fruit.
yeah, I was like, but could have been worse. Meanwhile, LeBlanc's like, yeah, dude, shut up. Like, blah, 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 blah.
Dog.
Report. Yeah, I got off. I was like, all right, I'm not playing another one.
This question is from Depresso. It says, question for Ohm. Hey Ohm, big fan. I actually found you through Mr. Fruit and bought Dead by Daylight and Rainbow Six Siege and got all my friends to play 'em with me. What a chain reaction, right?
Oh,
I wanted to know if Tiny
Rather
would
not an
ever be
affiliate
willing
code
to go
for it.
on a play date with Appa and Olive.
Yeah. Tiny loves other pups.
What kind of dog do you have?
Jack Russell. Jack
Russell?
Russell Terrier.
Yeah, they,
Appa and Olive, those are your pups, right? Fruit?
they are
Yeah.
currently clawing at my door because they want to be fed.
There you go.
And I think it was 2 podcasts ago, Appa figured out that really annoying if he he hits the doorstop. So like, so he'll sit there when he's hungry and go until I
No
give him
way.
attention. Yeah, and he'll go back and
That's hilarious.
they're too smart for them. Good.
Yeah.
But, they
No,
probably get along.
Tiny is he loves dogs. He's got a super sweet like manner to like he's just such a nice dog. He'd get along with your pups no problem. Yeah.
He'd
so-
get along with
Jack Russell
Oppo.
Terriers.
Yeah, they're awesome dogs and super smart, but super energetic. They need they need to release a lot of energy every day. But yeah, absolutely.
Question from Riles here says, question for all. I was wondering what y'all do for fun outside of video games. Sydney and I like to go on hikes and stuff. Well, like I like to do them. She more so like craves it and stuff like that. If I don't do it, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like I didn't do it. But like when I'm out there and doing it, I'm like, oh, this is nice. I can like appreciate this. But like I don't like crave that. So like it's cool to like do that because like I normally wouldn't. So like I guess like just getting out of the house and hiking and seeing those kind of views and stuff. It's just something different to do.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've gotten into drones a little bit over the past couple years. Although I don't take them up as much as I want. And plus, Illinois being like pretty flat, I don't get to like go film like majestic mountains and stuff like that.
Look at this grassy plain.
Yeah. But no, I also, I do like driving. I do like cars behind the scenes. I don't talk about them too much, but I like cars. And I also got into e-bikes a little bit in the past year or so. I don't know if you guys have ever taken out like an e-bike. Super
Never.
73.
I have it. No.
Dude, Super 73 bikes are so fun. You get them going up to like almost 30 miles an hour. Like,
Like I would die.
well, yeah, you definitely realize there's some risk to it, but yeah, no, it's super fun, man. It's great.
Blue, what about you?
Video games are the only joy I ever find in life.
Retweet.
That's all right.
I guess like watching shows or movies or anime, the gym, and board games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All good stuff.
Well, we're running out of time, so we'll do one more question. From Woe here. It says, "Who's your favorite Disney villain?" I like.
This is a question I've never thought about.
Yeah.
Really?
I know,
Let me Google Disney villains.
Exactly.
What?
I was
You've
just
never
gonna do the
thought
same
about
thing.
this? I was just like, I was literally about to be like, I think about this all the time. I would say Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. I think he's really cool, and he was like kind of like edgy, like because that movie was kind of like edgy as a Disney like movie can go. So Oogie Boogie for me for sure.
I'm looking it up right now, so give me a second.
And this is our favorite villain?
Yeah, like just a villain that like you think is cool, or like I don't know.
Maybe Gaston.
I don't know,
He had a
man.
good song, I guess.
You don't watch Disney movies, though? Like,
No, I mean I have. Well, I've always gotten shamed as a creator for not having seen Lion King.
What? Like the new Lion King?
Or the old one. I've never seen Lion King at all.
Oh, okay.
Bro.
I know. I forever judged on that, and
No.
but I don't know. I feel like I'd probably. I mean, Scar looks cool from Lion King. I know Ursula from The Little Mermaid, but I
That's
hardly
funny
remember
you
her.
haven't seen Little Lion King yet. You say Scar.
I'll say Shan Yu. Because Mulan was sick.
Oh, from Mulan.
Mulan was tight.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good movie.
I'll go Shan Yu.
You don't meet a girl like that every dynasty. It's funny.
Let's get down to business. That'd be my answer.
What about you, Blue?
God, I have to like think. See, I don't want to like be a normie and pick like a new because I was about to be like, oh, Thanos, easy. But that's cheating. That's cheating. Thanos was
I
tight.
love Thanos.
He was. I guess
Thanos
he is
was
a
tight.
Disney villain.
I love
He
that
technically
scene
is,
where-
but like if I'm talking like
Yeah.
childhood villains,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The
guess I'm
only
thinking
one-
like animated ones.
the only one that like genuinely was like, dude, what a piece of shit was Cruella de Vil.
Oh, what a piece of shit.
Like when I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, what a piece of shit.
I hate her.
Cruella hated
He's
her.
got something else.
The
Hope
coming.
that old
worst.
woman will just croak over and stop harassing those poor
The
dogs.
worst. And if it wasn't her, it would have been Gaston. He was a great villain.
Don't like Gaston.
So
you don't
you're
move
saying
like
great, like the
Gaston.
worst one. So you like if they make you hate them, like that makes
Then
you
they're good. Yeah, then they're a
Okay.
great villain.
I see. What you're saying.
Okay, yeah.
Love him for being bad.
Exactly.
But
I like
Thanos,
Hades
I mean,
too.
how you gonna
Hades
beat
is really
Thanos?
cool.
Oh, Hades is great too.
Hades is awesome.
I need to rewatch
Like,
that.
I
See,
don't hate
but-
him.
see-
But he's like a funny, cool. Like,
yeah, see,
villain.
but I loved Hades, and that's why I couldn't put him in there. Like he's just, I have to hate a villain for me. Like that's a great villain.
Yeah.
I guess if you can relate to a villain that's like even at top S tier, like higher than.
Yeah, or
S-tier villain.
like Thanos, when you're like, oh, I can kind of see where.
See
you're
the
coming
reason,
from.
yeah, that's the reason why
Him and
I
Killmonger.
thought Thanos was so good. Oh, and Killmonger especially. Like when the villains are like, well, I mean, they're not
Was-
like
Bomb
they're not.
that!
I mean,
He bombed it.
no morals, but like they're not far off. Like
Well, I just hate it because of like watching those movies with like Thanos and Killmonger. I'm like, dude, they're not wrong, and then they're like, so I want to kill everyone. It's like, oh, come on, dude, you had it. Like, you were right
so
there,
everyone's gotta
man.
die.
Yeah, it's just like such a cop out. But when I was watching Black Panther, yeah, the whole time I was like,
I was like, yeah, I like
Killmonger more,
Killmonger
like-
better. Yeah,
yeah, it's like I had no investment in the Black Panther. Killmonger is like, dude, yeah, this go get E-Bombay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. But yeah, what are you gonna do?
But I think that's gonna do it for the GG over easy Patreon questions. We appreciate our stands and those Patreon questions, but unfortunately, we have to wrap up the podcast.
But
Yeah,
Dad,
I know, everybody. I know.
No.
Can you let everybody let them know where they can find you on the internet and all those?
Yeah. I'm on YouTube. If you search Ohmwrecker or Masked Gamer, you can find my channel that way. Twitch, same thing. Caffeine, Twitter, most of the socials. You just search Ohmwrecker, you'll find me.
You heard it here first.
There you go.
You can find me
find it.
everywhere at twitch.tv/RobbieV. Blue.
you can find me everywhere at BlueWestlo.
Search Mr. Fruit. It's either me or that Taiwanese company. So you'll find. I think it's Taiwanese. I'm not sure, but you'll find one of us. And quit taking my name in games. Thank you very much. Keep playing
Don't say
games.
that,
Dude. That's
they'll
always
keep doing it.
I know it's too late now. I'm on. Like I have like 8 variations I have to go through now. It's like, all right, it's the backup of the backup of the backup.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you very much, everybody, for listening to the 48th episode of GG Over Easy. Thanks for supporting, whether you're a video watcher or an audio listener. We appreciate you. Thank you again to
the audio
Ohm.
listeners.
You're awesome.
Thanks for taking your time to
Thank
speak
you,
with us
Ohm.
here.
Yeah,
Thank
it was
you,
a blast. Thank you for
Thank
having me,
you.
guys.
We love you. And with that, we'll talk to you guys next week. Farewell.
See ya.